Hello, Oldhammers. It's Brett from Solo Oldhammer Gaming, and as you can see, I'm just setting up ready for the next battle report between Orcs and Dwarves. But I wanted to go into I don't know what I'll call it. I think I'll call it a rulebook deep dive or something like that. But I wanted to go into a rulebook deep dive about deployment in Warhammer Fantasy Battle 3rd Edition. Now, it might be a bit controversial, probably not as controversial as the new ray gun dance moves, but there you go. Who knows? And if it's a ray gun, then that'd be Rogue Trader probably. But we'll start off here. So, what the Orcs have elected to do is to do a advance force. Get that on the table first. So, the way units are deployed in 3rd edition is based on their movement rate. So, this does benefit mounted troops. They're a lot faster, so they would be deployed later on. So the slowest go first. They're deployed first. If there's a tie between both armies, then they're alternate. But you roll off on a dice. So whoever rolls highest, they can elect to deploy first or second with that movement. So dwarves are movement 3. They would be deploying the entire army first, unless you had, say, Orcs are movement 4, but if you had heavy armor and a shield, that knocks an inch off your movement, so that would bring them down to 1 inch, 3 inches as well. So, yeah, works out. So, I kind of like it, and yeah, so I thought I'd just take you guys through it. So, special deployment, you can either do an advance force or a trailing force or an outflanking force. The Orcs in this one have elected to do an advance force. So each player can decide whether they want to do one of those 3 special moves for deployment. Now, I should say that deployment in 3rd edition is 12 inches from the table edges, 12 inches in, 12 inches out from the table edge. And that's the same on that side. There's my coffee mug. I don't mind that. I've got a couple more terrain pieces, so I could make the board 8x6. Wondering if I can actually squeeze it out to 10x6 with the ping pong table, but I sort of think I'm only going to be able to put another 2 feet on this one. So, but that's okay. 8x6, 8x4's not too bad, I suppose. But yeah, we'll see how we go. But so yeah, the Orcs have elected to do a scouting move, an advance force. So they've let their opponent know after they've written down secret deployment. They're doing an advance force, so they're going to set up their entire army. So the dwarves have not done an advance move. I sort of figured they're slow enough as it is, so they're going to be out scouted anyway. So why not just leave them back to where they can deal with the Orcs as they come through. So what would happen is side B would deploy. The slower of the 2 advance forces would deploy their units first. Now it has to be a unit. It can't be a flying unit at all. A character that's on a flying creature can deploy as a part of an advanced force. So what we have here, so the Orcs have deployed their entire army as an advanced force. So they're all set up ready to go because they get a free move. So I'll move these guys now, and we'll come back. And the Orc army has made their scouting move. So the Wolf Riders have moved up 8 inches. Now normally it'd be 9, but because they've got light armor shield, that's 1 inch off their movement. The Gobbos, they've got no armor as far as I know, so they wheeled 4 inches to try and straighten up and try to head through that gap. The Orcs went ahead 3.5 because they've got light armor and shields. The Gobbos just went straight forward. They're 3.5 as well, and they've got light armor shield. And the Orc archers moved forward 4 inches because they've got no save. They've got nothing. Very expendable. But just as a side note, Josh from Crown of Command, mate, I know you're not a fan of movement trays, but holy moly. I think, yeah, I'm a fan of movement trays because just having moved this unit of 20 orcs and this unit of 20 goblins, like first world problems, I know, but hey, that was like, oh my goodness, why don't I have a movement tray for archers? So yeah, that'll be something I'm looking at getting from now on. Now, so now that the Orc force has made its deployment move, the next thing that would happen is that the Dwarves will deploy their army. Now, if the Orcs didn't deploy their whole army as an advance force, then the rest of their army would deploy after the Dwarves. So, yeah, because they've been out scouted, so the Dwarves would all deploy because they're 3 inches, but everything in the Orc army is much quicker. So, and just as a side note, that is the face of someone very happy to be playing Warhammer again, and very happy with how their painting's going. So we'll deploy the stoic Dwarves and get them set up and ready to face the onslaught of the Orc hordes. We'll be back. Okay, Oldhammers, so now the Dwarves are deployed and ready to face the onslaught of the Orc and Goblin hordes. So the brothers are deployed in one long line to get as many to bear. Dwarf crossbowmen are not actually bad troops just by themselves, like hand-to-hand wise, but yeah, I might even put them in a single line, I reckon. Cannon in the middle. I'll explain that when it finally pops. And there's the Orc and Goblin hordes coming from the other side of the table, in between the forests. That was one part of what I wanted to do before I fought the battle report. No movement trace, wow. Was get these forests painted and flocked. The old GW ones from ages ago now. I can't even remember, but they're the ones that still had the base. I know they did just the trees with like a surround, but yeah, I don't like those because yeah, you don't actually get a good footprint of where they are. So, but definitely going to be building more buildings eventually. But yeah, I'd like to add a new terrain piece every battle, which would be cool. There's my pile of stuff that doesn't fit in the cupboard anymore. Dear oh dear. So yeah. So now that the Dwarves are deployed, if the Orcs and Goblins didn't have the whole force as a trailing force, then yeah, they would be deploying the rest of their army now, as per usual. I'll touch a little bit on outflanking and trailing forces. So a trailing force is a force that would be deployed in your deployment zone, but after initial setup. So you would write down the turn that you wanted the reinforcements to arrive. They have to be led by a leader. I think that's the thing that third edition is quite good at. It does rely on leadership a lot for maneuvers and things, because that's that command and control structure. So so you postpone their arrival. When the turn does turn up, say if you put like from turn 4, trailing force consisting of Dwarven Hammerers, Dwarven Longbeards and Slayers will arrive on turn 3. So you take a leadership test, and if that's equal to or less than the leadership of the character that's leading that lot, then it arrives. If not, you check again next turn, and you keep checking until it does arrive. Bit of a danger there that it might not arrive. You might be pressed to the ropes. That's with the deployment for the dwarves. I know they're slower, but there is a little bit of a risk like deploying that far back on the table. If you get pushed back in combat, just remember that you don't have to actually break the enemy to push them off the table. You can just push them back in the combat, so they drop back 2 inches and get followed up 2 inches, and they would soon melt away. So just keep a memory of that. I did weigh that up on whether to bring the dwarves up a little bit. I think the dwarf general would move his forces up a little bit as the orcs and goblins got closer, just to sort of try and counteract how many troops they've got and how fast they are. Like those goblin wolf riders are flat out, like 8 inches. That's twice and a bit faster than your average dwarf with his little pudgy legs. So poor little bugger. So, which is always made me laugh at Blood Bowl 2 when, modern Blood Bowl, that they actually call one of their positions a runner. They're built for endurance, not speed. So, but I digress. Back to what we were talking about. So, if it was an outflanking force, it's treated a little bit differently. So your trailing force would actually come on in your deployment zone. An outflanking force can come on either of the table edges. It can come on any part of the table edge. So you draw a map. You denote where you want it. What is in the outflanking force. If there's a game master available, then give them the map and off they go. But if not, then look, we're not wearing top hats and monocles, but we're all gentlemen around the table, I reckon. So I reckon we can deal with that easy enough. So you deploy your outflanking force. If both have deployed an outflanking force, okay. So if the dwarves had said that they're deploying an outflanking force and the orcs had said the same thing, then only the orcs would be able to do it, because you can only have one outflanking force between the two sides per battle. So the faster is the one that gets the jump on the on the opposite outflanking force. So yeah, same again. You choose your where you want them to come in on what turn. So yeah, draw a map, write it down there. The only thing with an outflanking force is it cannot appear earlier than turn 3. It has to be, as it says in the rules, an outflanking force may be ordered to appear no earlier than the 3rd turn if entering from the side, or the 4th turn. So you can enter from your enemy table edge. So it'd have to be the 4th turn to enter from the enemy's table edge. Well, that's pretty cool, actually. And then yeah, it appears as like a trailing force. Same again, no flying creatures unless it's character on a flying creature. It does go in to say aerial troops as advanced and trailing forces. Aerial troops can be used as advanced or trailing forces just like any others. In fact, if your army has access to them, aerial troops make the best advanced forces of all, as they're extremely fast. However, they must be led by a character capable of flight. So the only one that I can think of off the top of my head is like a unit of dragon riders, like actual dragon riders for the high elves, but I never ever use those. I think they're OP. So creatures with intelligence of 5 or more may be used to form an advanced or trailing force as normal. Creatures with lower intelligence cannot be used as part of an advanced force, but may be used as a trailing force as long as the force leader has an intelligence of 5 or more. Advanced forces are usually worth the gamble. Once troops are in a defendable position, it's difficult to shift them. Skirmishers set ahead of the rest of the army can inflict quite substantial casualties as they pull back to their own lines. Used correctly, they'll be able to slow down and break up an enemy advance. On the same hand, cavalry deployed faster, that's less turns for the opposition to shoot at them. So yeah, it all balances out. But there you go. So that is deployment in Oldhammer. So, but just because I go on these deep dives, I am not an expert. God, totally far from it. So yeah, consult your rulebook that you've either got from when you were a kid, or you scored a copy on eBay, or naughty, there's PDF as well. So yeah, it's just a simple search. But yeah, consult your rulebook. At the end of the day, it's your game. So if you want to use trailing forces and flanking forces and advanced forces and all that cool stuff, you can. If not, then yeah, that's fine. But I just thought it'd be a little bit fun for this battle because I can't see the dwarves moving much. Just sitting back and probably shooting. I will deploy those crossbows though into a line like the brothers, because if you listen carefully enough, you can already hear the brothers arguing about the benefits of gunpowder and crossbows. So, well, I think my stand's broke. Oh well, that's probably a good point to end it. So, thanks a lot everyone for still supporting the channel. I'm still plugging away painting on the Empire army. I've got big news for the Mighty Empires campaign that I'm planning to run with myself. I just got to get a board, like a backing board that I can put the map on, so that way I don't have to worry about it getting bumped or anything like that. I'll probably end up magnetizing everything, I think, for that, but that's a little bit down the track. But yeah, so I've got that's coming along. The Empire's still getting painted. Their first run will probably be maybe against the Norse army, or even Orcs classic battle right there. 1,000 points. Freshly painted Empire and, well, sort of freshly painted Gobos, but yeah, looking forward to that. So still plugging away painting with that, but yeah, looking forward to this battle report. So that's what I'll be doing over the next couple of days, and filming that and getting it out for everyone's peepers to behold. So thank you very much, guys. Remember to keep climbing that that mountain, and always stay cool, stay Oldhammer. Thanks very much.